Black Myth Wukong is a pleasant surprise, like actually. This game was revealed in 2020, and for a long time, they basically showed nothing. Like, we barely got any gameplay of this game, and most of it was just CGI animation. So I was pretty concerned this game would come out and run horribly on every single system, because we've gotten that kind of treatment before from games like this. They show off a bunch of really pretty cinematics, the game comes out, and it can barely run on, like, literally anything. But that is not the case here. Black Myth Wukong actually runs pretty good, at least if you have DLSS or FSR on, because if you try and run this game without either of those on, it does not run well at all. At least in my experience, it could just be like bad drivers or something. I have updated my drivers, but who knows? My biggest takeaway for performance is that cinematic is too much for like any computer. If you're playing above 1080p, you cannot use cinematic, just period. Unless you're fine with 45 FPS, and that's with a 4090, by the way. And DLSS or FSR is a must-have for most systems. Frame generation also helps a lot too, but personally, I think it looks terrible. Like, I tried having it on, and I couldn't pinpoint exactly why I didn't like it, but everything was way less clear with frame generation on, and I just didn't like having it on. Like, it was harder to see what was happening on the screen, and it just didn't look as good to me. I'd be really interested to see how it runs on consoles, because I imagine they're not doing super well. I could be wrong, but I imagine consoles are struggling a little bit. And this game does set your hardware on fire. It does. It is extremely demanding, but it looks extremely good. This game looks shockingly good. In my opinion, it definitely looks better than Cyberpunk. I thought Cyberpunk looked okay, but I never thought it was like phenomenal looking. It was always something about it that felt off, but this game looks phenomenal. And you guys might have seen this, but this game has broken like every single record. It's beat out pretty much every single player game in terms of all-time peak. The only game that is currently ahead is PUBG, which actually surprised me. I forgot it was that big at some point, and it still has like 500,000 players, which is crazy to me. What are you guys doing playing PUBG, bro? That game is so wonky. But for a single-player RPG title, this game has the highest all-time peak, period, which is crazy. And for a lot of you guys, probably out of left field, because yeah, this game always looked good, right? Like, if you saw a trailer for this game, you're probably like, wow, that looks interesting, right? But nothing crazy. At least to me, this game never gave me this kind of vibe. Like, I never thought it would reach this amount of players. I knew it would do well, but this amount of players is insane. And it also is extremely high rated right now. Like 96% positive, which is insanely good out of 82,000 reviews. And there is a secret to this game's success, and that secret is China. And I'm not exaggerating, 90% of the people that bought this game live in China. We are just along for the ride as Americans. This is not our title at all, which does make sense, okay? This is a Chinese studio and publisher that made the game, but it just kind of shows that this market has been underserved for a long time. And over time, you're gonna be seeing a lot more Chinese games on Steam, because ever since 2021, there's been a massive uptick in Chinese games. Some of them are really good, and then other ones are the most blatant copies of already existing titles I've ever seen in my entire life. But I am happy the game is currently doing well, and I'm happy it runs on most people's systems, because I was worried about that. I really thought it was gonna be terrible, because the benchmarks did not instill confidence. And if you've been following this game for any amount of time, you have probably seen the content creator guidelines, which include a lot of things that I don't like. Like, for example, do not include politics, violence, nudity, feminist propaganda, fetishization, and other content that instigates negative discourse. I kind of get that. Feminist propaganda is a wild statement, though. Like, that is peak China right there. And then do not use trigger words such as quarantine or isolation or COVID-19. I wonder what country those are trigger words for, because they're not trigger words here. No one really cares. And if you do, you're probably a lunatic. And the last one is super funny. Do not discuss content related to China's game industry, policies, opinions, news, etc. Yes, because I would never bring up Tiananmen Square or show this picture of Moon Stream with every violation on the list. And to be clear, I never agreed to these terms or anything. I just saw them pop up and I'm like, yeah, these are ridiculous. Because they are. This is like some CCP propaganda stuff. Like, this is the Chinese government telling this game company what they need to tell other people, because that's what that is. Like, do you really think the game company cares about discussing COVID-19? No. And it actually gets worse, by the way. They say do not use any offensive language or humor, and it's like, I hate these kind of policies because they're always so vague. Like, what do you mean, offensive language? Is doo-doo butthead offensive now? Is that a problem for you? Or if I say Winnie the Pooh because it looks like your leader, is that too offensive? Like, what's the line here, China? And if you like these policies, you're deranged. Reviewers being restricted on what they can say about a game in any capacity is probably a bad thing if you want to make an informed purchase decision. Like, it doesn't matter if you agree with the politics or not. You don't want them to be censored because you want them to tell you what they think and what they don't think, and you want them to be truthful because they're talking about a product you might buy. You don't want them to omit things because China said no. That's a bad thing. And if you think it's not, you're insane. You're deluded. And I know this game plays some role in the bigger discourse of wokeism because something sweet baby ink had nothing to do with it, etc. And like, here's the thing. I don't care about the woke, okay? If a game looks bad, I'm not gonna buy it. It's pretty much that simple. The woke mind virus is people complaining about the woke mind virus. It's actually crazy. And here's the shocker to all the woke mind virus people. I don't like Sweet Baby Inc. either. I think they're cringe. I think all of this discourse is cringe. Forcing diversity is bad. Complaining about it all the time is also stupid and annoying and bad. Nobody likes forced diversity in anything. It's not good. It's not organic. And nobody likes when you don't shut up. But I think Sweet Baby Inc. exists for like no reason at all. I don't see a point in this kind of company. They seem like a way to siphon money from game companies. That's it. They're selling a service that game companies have been convinced they need when they don't actually need it. Sweet Baby Inc. is a stupid company, okay? But all of the people that complained about it to a point where I know what this company is and know what they do, they're also part of the problem. Like, it's gotten to a point where anything is woke if you disagree with anything in the game. It is absurd. Like, just because Black Myth Wukong is not working with Sweet Baby Inc. does not mean the game is like not woke or something. Like, guys, it's made by a Chinese developer. And I don't know if you've noticed, but China is kind of woke. You can't really do anything in that country. They kind of don't like it when you say things in that country. And I'm not exaggerating, as you can see with don't have opinions. Like, this right here is mental illness. What are woke mannerisms, bro? You are mentally ill. Like, this is the equivalent of saying microaggression, okay? It is the same thing. These are both mentally ill statements. Like, guys, I am on board with forced diversity being a bad thing. I don't like it. Now, if a game has diverse characters, I'm not gonna sit there and assume that it's like a DEI thing or something. Like, that kind of stuff is mentally deranged. You are not evaluating anything. You're not playing the game. You're not evaluating if it actually is or not. You're assuming because you don't like the people in the game for whatever reason. Probably not a good reason, but for whatever reason, right? If you just played games and tried to enjoy them and didn't think about the woke mind virus or something, you'd be much better off in life. You just would be. Because you wouldn't notice these patterns that you're making up in your head all of the time. Because as someone who doesn't hunt for these patterns, when I play a game that some people have deemed woke or not woke, I don't notice a difference at all. Like, there's nothing that's really stand out about a woke game versus a not woke game. The reason I think Sweet Baby Inc. is cringe is because they're basically an advisor board for game studios when they shouldn't even need one. Game developers should just make what they want to make. And that should be the end of it. I really do think Sweet Baby Inc. only exists to siphon money from the game industry and does nothing else. They created a problem and marketed their solution. Executives are stupid, okay? They believe anything. And also, if you just want comedy throughout your day, go to the Steam discussion forums of like any game. It is either the dumbest people alive or people baiting, just talking about things all day. Like, for example, Lamau, game lost 100k players. It's already dying. I knew it was fake hype. GG. It's a single player game. People have lives to live. Like, what is this statement? And the top reply is go harder. It's so stupid. Oh yeah, and as you might have seen from my gameplay, I'm not good at this game yet. I'm not good at Souls-likes to begin with, and this game is not as hard as a Souls-like, at least so far for me. But yeah, I'm not good at it either way. It's still so far, to me, a good game. I don't have much gameplay though. I kind of wanted to talk more about the culture around it because it's all kind of insane to me. Like, woke mannerisms is a mentally ill statement. Like, what does that even mean? It is the equivalent of saying microaggression. It is the same level of stupid. But if you're interested in the game and it's too expensive for you, just wait for it to go on sale. It's a single player game. It's not some life-changing experience. I would not say it's worth buying immediately. It's not some crazy thing unless you're really into this kind of game. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments down below. Like and subscribe to new form at spatnz1 and click the description down, check out more of my content, and have a good one.